There are a lot of things to love about Amphibia, but I think where it truly shines is the way in which every single episode develops its story and characters so deliberately and intricately. As Matt Brady once said, filler is a dirty word and we don't use it in his household. Today, I'll be explaining why I think that the reveal that Marcy orchestrated Anne's Calamity Box heist was so genius. Before I do though, please consider subscribing. I love talking about Amphibia, and you can bet I'll be talking about Season 3 non-stop. Subs are my channel's life support, and I genuinely appreciate those of you who do so with all of my heart. My Discord server, Twitter, and Patreon are in the description if you're interested. Now back to the video.
Yeah, let's go have fun and not think about our crippling sadness.
First of all, let's talk about Marcy's formal introduction in Marcy at the Gates. When Marcy is first introduced, she's just about the most lovable character ever. She's this smart, dorky, clumsy girl, and your first inclination is to trust her immediately. Well, sort of. She's almost too perfect. You do sort of get the feeling that she might be hiding something, especially when at the end of the episode we're teased about Andreas hatching some sort of evil scheme involving her. So how does the episode throw suspicion off of her? Well, a focus of the episode is Sprig being suspicious of Marcy himself, and when the episode finally has Sprig come around to her, it's portrayed as the right thing to do. As such, the audience figures that they should trust her as well. The show really cleverly plays with our expectations, and it's far from the only time that the show does this. The next batch of episodes are really just about us getting to know and love Marcy.
Come here, you. Ow.
The plot point of Andrea scheming something is totally sidelined, and for a brief moment, you totally forget that Marcy's moral alignment is in question. Not only do these episodes do a great job of getting us attached to her character, they teach us more about her, informing us of her motivations without us even realizing it. We learn about how she's always struggled to form connections with people back home, hence why she'd cling on to the only two friends she has ever managed to make. We learn that she's thriving in Amphibia, and it makes sense why she'd want to stay there. The show tells you her motivations, but it doesn't tell you that they are motivations. It makes it very satisfying when you actually do manage to pick up on how particular plot points may pay off later, rather than if the show were to make it obvious that you're meant to pick up on them, like if they had her do an evil grin when Anne wasn't looking or something. Now let's talk about Today at the Aquarium. Andreas proposes something to Marcy at the end, something that she'll apparently be very interested in. For anybody that managed to clue into the motivations earlier episodes gave us, and given that the proposal is brought up in the context of her being sad about Anne leaving, it becomes obvious as to what Andreas is going to offer her here. He's going to offer her the opportunity to stay in Amphibia with Anne and Sasha forever.
Bingo! Ta-da!
At least, that's the gist of it. The moment is good payoff for anybody who was paying attention, but at the same time, it kind of diverts you from the real twist, that Marcy is the reason everybody is here in the first place. You figure that this is the backstabbing the promotional image from Disney TVA's Twitter account warned us about, and now you can relax about your sweet cinnamon roll being toxic. A foolish mistake. The next time we see Marcy is in the first temple, and it's here we get our first taste of Marcy's true toxicity. Turns out that she gets so invested in things that she neglects to pay attention to how her actions are affecting others. In every challenge she's tasked with, she almost gets Anne and the gang killed. This leads up to the final challenge, which quite literally puts everybody's lives in Marcy's hands. After a lot of risky moves, she finally realizes that what she's doing is hurting her friends, and she throws the game. She is rewarded for this. The stone charger reveals itself to her, and there's a cute little message at the end about the importance of showing humility. However, you might have noticed that what actually put her friends in danger was never her lack of humility, it was her lack of consideration for their well-being. Her selfishness. Much like in the first episode, the show uses your trust in the episode's narrative to sneak the truth past you. And if you ever had any doubt that Marcy hadn't overcome her flaw, look no further than the next episode, the new Wartwood. Her lack of consideration for how she's affecting others is on full display here, as she changes the town to suit the image she likes, inevitably causing Wartwood to become unstable and collapse in the process. It's clear that she's still got her toxic trait of not thinking about how her actions might affect others, but the show manages to throw you off the scent yet again by framing the episode to be about Marcy struggling to fit in.
Small communities like this don't take kindly to strangers, which means I don't have a chance.
However, it's also a rewarding episode to anyone who paid attention to the fact that Marcy didn't overcome her flaw in the last episode, although most of us are still thinking about how this might relate to Andreas' proposal, not the true mystery. In Battle of the Bands, Anne sings about how much she loves living in Amphibia, and just look at Marcy's devious smile as she does. This is exactly what Marcy okay, just kidding. Her smile is adorable. Let's move on to True Colors. This is where we find out the twist itself, and my favourite thing about it has to be that Marcy doesn't ever break character. Her actions made sense with everything we learned about her, and her motivations for doing what she did are very strong and relatable, and it was all set up so meticulously, it feels very earned and not at all contrived. You might not even realise how meticulously the show set things up, because it was so good at being subtle and not giving anything away, despite the fact the pieces of the puzzle were right in front of us.
Hey, how about we solve the puzzle of getting the heck out of here?
Even before Marcy's formal introduction in Marcy at the Gates, the show was already sowing the seeds. Marcy, being the mastermind, explains why we saw her smile as Anne stole the music box, as well as why Marcy was the one that told Sasha about the box in the first place. Every choice that the show makes is careful and deliberate, and Marcy's story is the best example of that. Like the video if you enjoyed it, subscribe for more, and comment with how much you love Marcy down below. Also, be sure to check out my Discord, Twitter and Patreon in the description. Oh, and please check out my lovely patron Meg Rabbit's book, Edge Anomaly, in the description as well. If you love the Owl House and Amphibia, you're going to really enjoy it. See you next time.